Hi, we're here again on another episode of Camera Lounge, and it's coming to you from the stable of Camera Joint, Nigeria's #1 camera store. I'm Kayode Alayande. You know how we do it on the show. We talk to creatives in Nigeria. We get to know them, get to understand their craft, their work, the philosophy of what they do, and stuff like that. And in this special series, we've been talking to photographers, professional photographers, and I have yet another photographer in the house today. I'll let you meet him in just a moment. Lights, camera, action. Welcome back. He's a lifestyle, wedding, portrait photographer. He's done this for a bit now, and he's done it here in Nigeria. He's gone abroad to do photography. Welcome with me, Lawson Adebayo, also known as Balaz. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah. So for those who might not know you, especially since you've been in the industry, who is Lawson?
Well, I'd say one short black boy with a camera. I mean, that's it. That's how everyone knew me back in school. That short black guy that's always carrying camera up and down. And over time it's stuck because a lot of people started looking out for me to take pictures of them. They're like, "Oh, did he take your pictures? Oh, he took my pictures." I'm like, "Yeah." So, I embodied that. Just always remember where you come from or how you started.
Wow. So, camera up and down, camera up and down. Yeah. Where was it? Secondary school? Was it?
Oh, it was university.
University.
Yeah, final year.
So, how did you come about your first camera?
So, I had a knack for taking pictures of kids with my phone. So, I had this Nokia Balaz phone. I had a camera on it, and then I just love capturing moments of kids, like genuine smiling and everything. And then I was like, we're about to finish school though, guy, what's the plan? And I was like, why not get a camera? So, fun fact, I told my mom about it, and then she was like, no, she's not going to buy me a camera because she's not going to spend so much on something she knows I'm probably going to change my mind on in a couple of months.
I see.
And then I kept pressing. And then she was like, it's just not going to happen. So there was a trip coming up, my department, and it was supposed to be like 150K to Egypt. And I said, okay, this is my time. So I charged her 300K.
Come on now.
I got the money.
Nah, I'm not judging you.
This is fine. I charged her 300K. I got the money. And then I took the 150K back to her. And I said, look, this is the money you said you didn't have. I have it with me now. But for some reason, I just believe that this is where God is leading me to. I know it sounds crazy, but I just want you to pray for me and trust. And then, she prayed for me. She said that I was successful in everything. And, amen. And then 2 days after, she was like, Shemole, you have 50K, And, the money remained 100K. And before my mom would, I just...
But why?
I ran to the market blindly to just get a camera. And yeah.
What year was this?
This was 2010, January 2010.
Okay, so now that you mentioned that this started while you were in school.
Yes.
Let's talk about your education.
So I went to command and I had a film camera. Someone actually bought me a fake one. So for every time I put a film in it, I'll take pictures, and by the time I go to the lab to develop it, they're like, yo, the camera wasn't good and this. So I kept going back.
In case you don't know what that is, it's like buying the fake SD card in traffic.
Exactly. So I kept going back and taking pictures until I finally got my exposures. Oh, so yeah, so that was secondary school. And then Babcock University was from my university. I studied in history and international relations. So funny how I don't even feel like I did that anymore.
It's not in your DNA. We understand these things.
History and international relations. And then for my master's, I studied filmmaking in University of Essex in England.
Was that what you set out to do?
So photography obviously was number one. And I didn't feel like I wanted to do masters in photography anymore.
Okay.
So I just felt like, okay, where's like the middle ground? Like, because I wasn't going to do masters in international relations. And that was like a big back and forth between me and my parents. And I was like, look, I'd rather do it in something I love, media. So film obviously was like, the best option.
So I see that you do a lot more of weddings than any other thing. Why weddings?
For me, I found love in wedding. I feel like wedding is the one place where I'm able to portray myself or express myself the most, because I'm all about capturing moments that linger. One of the reasons why we do photography, wedding photography, we want to be able to remind you the reason why you got married. So I remember there was a client, and then she had mentioned that all the pictures were lovely, but there was one picture that stood out, and this was a picture when she was trying to put the ring. No, he was trying to put the ring in her finger, but then it just wouldn't go in. And then he had this smile, and that was it. And then she told me she wanted that to be the biggest, like framed at the biggest size, because every time she and her husband have a misunderstanding, every time she sees that picture, she remembers like why she's married to him.
I read somewhere where he said, I like challenging briefs. Have you ever gotten one brief that you were like,
Yes.
What's been the most challenging brief for you?
I think the most challenging brief was when a friend of mine just recently told me that she wanted us to cover her wedding. And then she said, do you mind not using your colors?
Your colors? Like,
yes, the presets. And I was like, no, the preset is everything. Literally,
that's your signature.
Yeah, that's the signature. Like a lot of people, we don't even watermark our pictures anymore, because once you see the colors, it's from Balaz Studios. And for me, that was the most challenging, because it was like, wait, so how do I come out of this? How am I somebody, like, what do I represent? Like, how, this is me. This
More
is,
like you could have gotten someone else to shoot for you.
Like this is Balaz Studios. And, obviously I was going to do the wedding because this is my very good friend. And I mean, there's nothing, if she told me she didn't want me to edit the pictures, definitely, because she means so much. But then my wife spoke to me and she said, are you more than your colors? I was like, yes.
Oh, that's deep.
Yeah. And she said, the way you light, the way you frame, that is you, not the colors. And that for me was everything. So we went into that wedding, forget the colors. Took fantastic images. And by the time we're, editing, we actually did both colors. Both the natural one that the client wanted, and then our colors. And she loved both.
All right. So, I mean, you've done wedding photography here in Nigeria, and you've done it abroad. What's the gap between how wedding photography is done here in Nigeria and how that industry is abroad?
I'd say more of respect. I feel like whenever we do a destination wedding, you're more respected. It's more like you have a role, a very important role. They know that, look, you're the one who's going to capture this moment and everything. Or here, you just feel like you're one photographer. You get to a wedding and then you see like 10 photographers and you're like, okay, so why did you hire this photographer if you know he's not going to be able to create the kind of images that you liked? But abroad it's different. You can have maybe at most 2 or 3 photographers and they're working hand in hand to make sure they take creative shots for the wedding. But here it just feels like, oh, photographers, they are photoing. So it's rare. And whenever you find that clients who actually understand. So I'm not saying like, sometimes we could be at a wedding where there are 2 or 3 other photographers. But then you understand this client knows your value.
What has been the most proud moment that you've had as a photographer?
I'd actually say when I did the the portrait of the current vice president of Nigeria.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's the official photograph, right,
Yes,
isn't it?
during the campaign, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Ah.
Well, a lot of people don't know. We
that's
took.
all good.
Thank you.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
But I don't know which one I should have asked first. Now, I've had photographers here on the couch telling me about the need for photographers to dress well. And that generally speaks to the fact that they're not always properly treated well at occasions and stuff like that. Now, do you think something is wrong with Nigerians or clientele generally, or deservedly, cameramen, people in the creatives should make critical effort to show up great?
Well, I mean, I know they say dress the way you want to be addressed. But if I'm being completely honest, the truth is, as a creative, you want to wear a t-shirt and jeans and sneaker to work. You're not there to impress. I mean, some of the weddings we've done in the US, we've seen cinematographers wear t-shirts and nobody's looking at them as less important.
So something may be wrong with Nigerians.
Yeah, I feel like if you don't wear suits or agbada, they won't give you food. So yeah, so like right now, like you have to like go and drop food there. They're like, yes sir. But if you wear a t-shirt, like even an usher can sweep you out of the road. Like, excuse me, please, can you move?
What's the future of wedding photography?
I'd say for Nigeria, I'd say people valuing it more. So I'll explain. A good, decent wedding photographer is paid between $3,000 to $4,000 for a wedding. A fantastic wedding photographer is paid between $5,000 to $10,000 US. And I'd say we've come a long way. People actually seeing the reasons why you should pay millions and not 50,000 or 100,000. If you have one, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like in the next, say, 10, 20 years, I feel like people would understand the value of wedding photography and pay so much, just as they are doing right now with decorations. People spend 10 million on decoration. So why can't you spend that amount on the one thing that captures everything you spend your money on?
So it's a matter of orientation.
Yes.
So we also see that the orientation is improved from what it used to be.
Yeah, a lot.
Okay. So what do you think would take that orientation further to where a photographer will be paid? Well, you say an excellent photographer will be paid in that region.
I think it hinges on two factors. One, photographers themselves. So we're in the industry where a lot of photographers believe, let's just collect it.
But they have no choice.
No, everyone has a choice.
Okay.
Because the truth is, we don't have a choice is the reason why we're here. In South Africa, photographers they know, if you're not of this level, you can't get this job. If you're not of that level, you can't get this job. A good photographer in the US can never be paid $8,000 for a wedding. It's just a matter of fact.
But he's not the only good photographer. That's why. So that's why a lot of people say.
But then there's a benchmark. So we know the photographers that are really good. You know the creative photographers. If you ask someone, a bride, she'll most likely tell you that, look, I've gone through Better Nigeria, I've gone through some of these big blogs, wedding blogs, and I've narrowed my selection down to my top 20. So she knows those are really good. And they should be a benchmark. You won't see a photographer in the US who should earn about $5,000 to $10,000 say, oh, because the other people are charging high, and let me give you $2,500. It would never happen. Just the way in Nigeria, regardless of how hungry a vulcanizer is, a vulcanizer would not pump your car tire for 100 naira. Why? They have an association.
So on Sundays and on Mondays, when the physical activity of wedding photography is at its lowest, and you're able to sit back and think, and you're thinking about wedding photography in Nigeria, what's the biggest headache for you?
I'll still say this rat race thing with photographers, that is still the biggest issue. Because you hear a planner called a photographer and they paid him way less. So I'll share the story with you. So there was a client made an inquiry, and well, she's not a client, we didn't do the job. But then, someone made inquiries. Yeah, I mean, a client is obviously somebody who paid you.
Who paid it to
you get what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay. But this lady,
Potential client.
Yes, potential client. Amazing lady. She made this inquiry, and we had the price. So this was like 3 years ago, back when we're charging 800 for a day. And she made inquiries, we agreed. She explained that, her wedding was being, she couldn't do it in the US anymore. She had paid all the vendors. She wants to do it in Nigeria. Please, can I do a discount? And we're like, okay, no problem. Because of what you said, let's do 700. We had the deal. And then she called me back like 2 weeks after and said, oh, I'm so sorry. My event planner got me a deal. And I'm like, okay, it's fine, man. Well, what is the deal? And then she said 450K. And I was like, oh, do you mean 450K for photography alone? Because, 3 years ago, obviously, there's some good photographers that can charge that amount. It's not a bad amount. And then she said, no, 250 for photography and 200 for video. And I was like, wait, what? How? How do you get a good photographer for 250K? How do you get a good cinematographer for 200? And then I asked, who's the photographer? And she mentioned the name of the photographer, and I was like, how? How is this guy charging 250,000?
I'm also trying to look at the present condition of a creative. You have your standards up there. In your meetings, your business meetings, you said, look, we are not going to collect anything less than this.
Amount, yeah.
But you find yourself in a crunch. It's time to pay school fees. It's second week in January. And there's no money. What do you do?
So this is one of the things I've come to realize, and this is one of the things I share with a lot of photographers and our partners. I tell them there's the business of photography, and there's the one thing that drives the business, which is the God factor. And for some reason, a lot of people shy away from talking about it. But for me, it's big, because you can be the most creative photographer and not make money. But if you know the God factor on how to make good money from your business, then the truth is you'll never lack. So I'll explain. There are times when we get offers like, oh, come do this amount. Obviously, man, money, you pay bills. Do you get what I'm saying? We'll take care of something. 10K goes a long way. 10K will buy fuel. 10K will do your DSTV subscription. They will pay for Netflix. Do you get what I'm saying? 20K will pay for your internet. But this money, they're not small money. Do you get? Regardless of, how the level, it's important. But then what we've come to realize is, or what I have come to realize is, I'm not ruled by my needs. I have somebody who provides them. So I don't do that race. I need to get it. No, because when I think I need to get it for myself, then I will never have enough. So does it mean that I'm rigid with my pricing? No. I know when to give a good discount, but I know when not to offer a service lower than what I would normally do. Because my father doesn't beg. And I shouldn't beg. And that has brought me into bigger realms, like with bigger clients who pay really well. We had a wedding in Cotonou. That's the wedding we used to wrap the year and start the year. It was 31st and 1st of January.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And then, I took a moment to pause to give thanks, because we're the only Nigerian vendor here. This was a big wedding. The president was there. The president of Cotonou. It was top wedding. I was like, why? Why us? And I couldn't explain it. Because it wasn't just about us being the best photography team on the market. There are a lot of fantastic photographers.
Even in Cotonou.
Yes, even in Cotonou.
Yeah.
And I realized that grace is your faith. So I'm like, I would never shortchange myself, because it's like swapping God's blessing for crumbs.
Let's move on to other issues now. Issue of technology in photography.
Yes.
By the way, what brands do you use?
Fujifilm, yo.
It's strange. Fujifilm.
Yes, Fujifilm.
I'm not sure I've heard anyone in the last 10 years.
That's like the Eden gem.
How did you land there?
So research. So I was using Canon, and big photographer, you have to use the big cameras. And I was using the 5D Mark IV, and I just knew I wanted more. So I kept researching. At the time when I got married, I started researching because obviously more bills, more responsibility. So I knew that I had to stop being that product junkie, want to have the latest camera, and I needed to be intentional of what do I really need. So I researched. So a friend of mine told me, Mama Studios, he mentioned to me, oh, I think you should get the Fujifilm. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want the Fujifilm. And he kept impressing it on me. And I said, you know what? I told myself, I'm going to research on the Fujifilm just to make sure I don't buy the Fujifilm.
Okay. Reverse psychology.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Like, I didn't want to buy it. I did not want to buy it. So I was like, you know what? This guy is talking about this camera. I'm sure I'm going to see a flaw, and I'm not going to buy it. So for every night, for 6 months, I would research on the Fujifilm. And instead of seeing something that would turn me off, I kept seeing things that drew me closer to the system. So the moment I made that move to buy the camera, in fact, my wife was like, oh, it's going to take you like a month to get used to it. I got used to it the next day. Because the camera and I had become one.
So it was a matter of exposure.
Yes. And research. And I think that's one of the biggest issues we have in this industry. A lot of photographers don't research. A lot of photographers buy the hype.
Well, they take great pictures. I mean, Nigerian photographers take great pictures.
Yeah, but you take great pictures at what expense? So imagine you having to buy a Pro Photo light. I'm sorry, Pro Photo users. I'm sorry, but
You're going to get in trouble in your industry.
This is kind of like for you guys. So, there are people who swear by Pro Photo, and they're like, oh, you can't get these pictures without Pro Photo this, Pro Photo that. And I'm like, how do you spend over $1,000, close to $2,000 on a light? And then the Godox. And they say, yeah, the Godox light. But I'm like, do you know there's a pro version of this light? Have you compared the pro version of the Godox to your... Because the truth is, if you've compared it, you would see that a light that you spend about $600 on and $2,000, you cannot tell me that $1,400, the difference is just that, oh, it's slicker, or oh, the light is more refined. More refined to what extent? Brighter to what extent? $1,400 brighter? Those are the questions for me. So, research for me is very important. I need to know what I need.
So do you think products and the proliferation of choices have made professionals, and when I say professionals, I mean professional photographers, lazier?
Yes. I feel like, I'm sorry, but I feel like a lot of photographers, well, okay, not a lot, some photographers in Nigeria are using cameras they don't even have an idea, they don't even know much about. So for example, someone might go buy the latest Nikon. Why are you buying the latest Nikon? Well, it's the latest Nikon, it is sharper and has this color, but is that what you need? Is that what you need? Are you doing products? Are you getting Nikon for products? So for example, if you ask me, Fujifilm is great. Why do I love Fujifilm? Great skin tone, amazing JPEG, dynamic range.
Are those things not subjective?
With the Fujifilm, no. I think it's just one camera that is plain to see. I'm still waiting for the system that can actually give straight out JPEG amazing photos. I mean, I'm talking about the camera that has made our workflow faster. So, okay, I usually don't like to tell the clients this because we have this policy in the contract that your pictures are ready in
All
like...
your clients are watching this.
that the pictures are ready in like... The full soft copy will be ready in 6 to 8 weeks. But the honest truth is, by the time you're done selecting, you sit down to edit, and the editor is editing. The editor can be done with those pictures in a day. Why? Thanks to Fujifilm. Because you already shoot perfect JPEG image. So, quick turnaround time. And then I know there are some professionals that tell me, oh no, RAW is this, is that. No. This camera, would you shoot, based on the conversation we had, the truth is, would you shoot RAW on your iPhone? No.
Bro.
You would shoot JPEG because you know that the iPhone can take fantastic pictures on the spot. And that's what the Fujifilm does. It has the best colors. I know I'm sounding like a marketer, but no, it's exceptional.
Let's go back to your craft. Because it takes someone who believes that they understand their craft to make this kind of decision.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you're not really sure about what you're doing, you also want to rely on technology to ensure that at least your work is at par. Now, what makes your work? I mean, there are thousands of, maybe, if not hundreds of thousands of photographers in Nigeria, wedding photographers in Nigeria. What do you think sets your own work apart?
I have to give it up to our light setup. Light is everything for us. If someone comes to learn today, I usually tell them, oh, buy the Fujifilm. And as soon as they buy it, I'm like, yeah, keep it in your house. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah. And learn light. Because for me, light is 80%. If you're versatile with light, then you can control any situation. The camera is just a tool, which I have to have understanding. So I see a lot of photographers with very expensive lights, but they don't really know how to use it. So, I mean, a lot of photographers will tell you, oh, don't let anybody know what you're using. No, let them know what you're using. But the question is this, do they know how to use it? The knowledge of what you have is more important than what you have. So for me, I'd say light, and then obviously the right camera, which for me would be Fujifilm, because it can then interpret what I understand about light, or how I'm trying to put my light and set up my light.
So from there, I was going to ask you about negotiations with clients. A lot of photographers have issues with two things: retaining clients and negotiation. And you know the Nigerian market is, yes, it's unique.
Yeah.
What's been your own experience when it comes to negotiating with clients?
I'd say personality sells. So there are times when a client can like you. The truth is, a client can like your work. They can like 2 or 3 more photographers' work. And for some of them, the deciding factor might just be your vibe.
If you have vibes on vibes, yeah.
Yes, it's really important. Because the truth is, I know some photographers that would tell a bride, yeah, do you mind looking to the right? And then they look to the right and like, no, I don't like the way you're turning your eyes. Turn your eyes this way. And the truth is, you've lost that bride. Because taking a photograph of someone who you don't know, them letting you into their inner space, there are a lot of insecurities. Do I put my hand this way? Do I look good if I put my hand this way? Not every bride is a model. So,
not every bride is a model.
Yes. So by the time you take that little confidence that the bride has, you've lost that regardless of how good a photographer you are. But the truth is, it sort of comes into negotiations as well. When you're having conversations with them, Yeah, you can package your business and be like, yeah, how you going? Below Studios.
Why do you have to use?
You know, yeah, like we all package now, my brother. We all package. That is Nigeria.
So no. So are you telling me that hello, who's speaking could earn you more less money than hello, who's speaking?
Oh yes. You need to know your client. There are some clients. Trust me, our conversations are weird. Give
me a sense of very conversations.
So, for example, there are some clients that might call in. They're like, "Oh, how you doing? We're just trying to make inquiries." I was like, "Oh, how you doing? Oh, thank you for reaching out to us. We really appreciate you. Do you mind sharing your wedding date?" And then by the time you have the conversation, you kind of sense what kind of client. You can sense that, and trust me, some conversations that have started with the, "Yeah, do you mind sharing your wedding dates?" would go all the way to, "My sister, I want." That's obviously you know what I'm saying, like, because then you can vibe, because you need to sense the vibe. So obviously, yes, you want to start as professional as possible, because you don't want to go, now my sister, I hope it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, maybe it's the wrong number, but you need to know when to get into. You need to understand your clients. So just yesterday, we had 2 different conversations with 2 different clients. And, one, we were down to earth, sweet and everything. And the other one, we're just laughing. It felt like hyenas were in the car. I'm serious. Like, we're just laughing. And you get what I'm saying? So understanding, as I said, your vibe is very important. People love people that are down to earth. So you don't want to be stuck up and acting like they're doing you a favor, reaching out to you. You can lose a client who's your biggest fan.
So you're watching the Camera Lounge, coming to you on the bill of Camera Joints, Nigeria's #1 store. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll see what is in Lawson's bag. All right, we're still here at the Camera Lounge with Lawson Adebayo, wedding photographer, events photographer, and of course, portrait photographer. Thank you for coming today, Lawson. All right, before we see what's in your camera bag, let's take a look at some of your favorite pictures that you have taken. Yeah, so this one, like the bride and the groom are, in the garden.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
So we're done with the shoot. We had wrapped, and I saw the lights. And as weird as that might sound, I always follow the lights. Artificial light is great and whatnot, but like, immediately I saw the sun spotted in that corner, I was like, this is the shot. And I called the couple and I pleaded. I said, look, we're about to take the best photo.
Marketing.
Yeah. And you're like, okay, let's just go there. And then, position the bride and told the groom to kiss. That was it. And then, so the first shot was taking a picture like that. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it looks good, but I need some elements.
Yeah.
I need something away from that light.
You needed to situate it.
Exactly. So we shot through the leaves.
Oh, great. Great picture.
Thank you.
Great picture. I like it. This next one.
For some reason, I can't even tell you why this is one of my favorite pictures. Because, normally you talk about the technique and whatnot, but for me, it's just about the moment, the whole vibe. Like, we had so many post pictures that day, and there's just this serenity.
Yeah.
About their love and
peace.
Yes. And this was just the money shot. Like, I just knew, like, this is it.
Yeah. It's great. Great.
Yes.
This and the moment.
Yes. This for me was the moment
when the fireworks went off.
Yes. And more essentially her smile. I feel like everything just came together. And the fact that you can't really see him, you know what I'm saying? It just makes the picture very mysterious.
Yeah. Amazing photos there. So let's take a sneak peek into your bag and let's see the gears that you use to create this magic.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, wow. This is the biggest bag I've seen on the show.
Are you serious?
Yes. Oh, wow.
It packs almost everything except the ML60s.
Wow.
Yes. So, I mean, okay.
Fujifilm.
What you feel? What you get? What you get? What you all the
So what
way,
lens
man.
is this?
So this is the 23, which is the 35 equivalent.
23.
Yeah.
So this is a wide.
Yes. So you know the Fujifilm is a crop sensor, but not crop sensor like we understand it on DSLR.
Okay.
It's different, very unique. I think that's their own style. So you might be hearing weird numbers like 23 equal 35 mm.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it feels steely, like
Yes.
it's iron.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
Both the lenses and
Yeah.
the camera itself.
And the beautiful part is your aperture is right on top of the lens. So you don't have to fix your aperture. This is your aperture, this is your ISO, this is your shutter speed. So you're one click away from that perfect picture.
Okay.
As in,
Great. So what do you call this particular camera?
This is the XT3. Yes, the Fujifilm XT3.
Is it their latest or what?
So currently the XT4 is the latest.
Oh,
But one of the reasons why we haven't upgraded to the XT4 is because the XT3 and the XT4, they use the same sensor.
Oh, okay.
So what Fujifilm did was they made the XT4 more for cinematographers. So they put the IBIS in it.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was almost pointless
And
buying.
You're not doing videos, so
Exactly.
what the heck?
It's like there's no point.
Okay,
Might
great
as well
stuff.
Stick
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
Great. So that's the only camera you came with.
Yes, the Fujifilm. It's the
So
only camera.
let's see the lenses.
Okay. This is the 90 mm f2. This is the equivalent to 135 f2 on the Canon and the rest of them. It's really good telephoto lens.
Trust me, I'm just nodding. I wish I understood what
This
you're saying.
is
Because I'm used to
this is my
the other DSLRs. Like,
this guy's the guy.
right.
Well, the amazing thing is the fact that
So it's a zoom lens. It's
it's a prime
telephoto.
lens. Yeah, telephoto prime lens.
Yeah.
All our lenses are prime.
Oh, all lenses on Fuji.
Oh no, they have the zoom ones, but we
Okay.
just prefer to use prime lenses.
Oh,
in
you just
general.
prefer to use
Yes.
prime lenses.
Yes.
Okay. Great.
This is the telephoto lens where we do all the focus shots and depth of field
I
and
see.
whatnot.
So you're saying that the lenses are more naturally extended than what you have in Canon, for instance, because you say this is 90 and equivalent of
Yes,
135.
135, yes.
All right,
Yes.
I see. Great.
Yeah.
What else have you got there?
So, I have the Vitrox lens. So this is like a third-party lens
Okay.
to the Fuji lenses. Very good, actually. Very, very good. And they're way cheaper. So if you don't have so much to spend, because Fuji lens is actually very expensive. Body is decent, but the lenses are a bit pricey.
Oh.
So if you don't have so much money to spend, you can go for the Vitrox lens. It's really good, very sharp.
So what's the range of this one?
Oh, so this is like a 50 mm equivalent.
Okay.
Yeah, this is 33 1.4 Vitrox, and this I think is one of the cheapest on the market right now. Selling
Alright.
for about 220. About
Wow.
yeah.
So what else should we see?
And then there's the #1 cheat mode lens. I think just need to make sure it's in the right place. It's like the one lens that we can't go without. You know how they say the stone
That the
that the builder
builders
rejected, yes, is now like the cornerstone. It's this lens. So this lens came with the Fujifilm X-T30.
So it's like a kit lens.
It's a kit lens, a Quangular lens. In fact, I was going to sell this for like 20K.
Wow.
Yes. In fact, like I'd rejected it. I was like, it makes no sense. But right now, we've created so many fantastic images with this lens.
Wow.
Once I got a hang in it, I found that's one of those. I feel like I would most likely trade it for this lens. This lens is the most expensive lens, but I'd rather have this lens than this lens.
Wow. So before I let you go, so you know this thing about when you lose a bag or
Yeah.
you lose something, you're like, that bag, but I can't even forgo that bag, but there is this thing inside that bag that, they can carry everything, but they must bring this thing back. What's the most valuable thing to you in this bag?
That's very tricky. I would say, I was going to say the light, but I'll say this guy. This guy.
What's that?
This is a Factel.
Factel.
Yes. It's cardioscopic lens.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so whenever we need to get into a place where we want to do something extremely different.
I've never seen this before.
Oh, it's beautiful. You put this on your lens and it creates different effects. It comes in
different sizes.
Yeah, different sizes.
Factel.
Yes. If you've seen the cover of Miguel the Sangadon. And I love it on you. Yeah, his album cover. It has the cardioscopic. Yeah, this is the lens that was used.
Wow.
Yeah. It's the glass rather that was used. Yeah.
So it creates like
creates different effects. So it has the pattern.
So depending on how you manipulate it.
Yeah, so you put it in front of your lens, you put the glass in front of your lens and take the pictures. And it's kind of like our cheat mode. So when there are a lot of photographers and you're like, you guys are most likely creating similar images, just bring this guy out.
I see.
And then,
voila. Wow, this is much wider.
Yeah, so this is a normal prism.
Okay.
It's shaped as a prism, so you can do much stuff with it. So, I mean, because I have insurance on the whole bag, but I feel like if there's anyone that I'll most likely miss the most, I'll say this guy.
So it's not the most expensive thing in the bag, but...
It's just, I mean, it's $100, it's cheap.
Wow.
Yes, but it's very, very vital because
awesome.
It can separate you from
other people.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Nice to see what's in your bag.
Thank you.
Oh, great. Wow, awesome stuff you've got in the bag. Well, thank you very much, Lawson, for coming on the show.
Pleasure's all mine,
it's really nice having you around.
Pleasure's all mine.
All right, everyone, you've seen what's in Lawson's bag is advocating for Fujifilm.
Best.
All right, I guess we'll continue that conversation elsewhere. Well, that's it on the show for today. Many thanks for watching. I'm Thecameralounge. Bye now. Lights, camera, action.